Hello, couch co-opers, couch potatoes, and couch codependents. This is the Couch Co-op Show, and I'm Ian.
Ian! That's my name! I'm a firefighter! Firefighter!
And I'll be stripping for you guys all later. Nope? Alright. And today, what's going on? Oh, please do us a favor and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Couch Co-op Shows. All one word, no hyphen. And today on the show, I got Jared with me.
Hey.
I got Dave.
Hey.
But I think he's trying to figure out his camera situation. And welcome back to the show. We got Brad.
Hey guys, what's up?
Woo!
Coming live from the Rose and Thistle pub.
Okay.
They let you out.
And tonight we're going to be talking about Ghost of Tsushima. We're doing when it first came out, I did a little kind of a shorty episode, like 15 minutes on Ghost of Tsushima. But tonight we're going to do like a full-on couch co-op. Since all of you guys have beat it, we're going to talk about this fucking game. And thank you guys all for agreeing to be on the show and do this.
Always nice to hang out.
Of course.
Good to be back.
Yeah.
Oh.
I have to start something just to say, this is why buying games on discs rules, because 3 of us here have all played it off the same disc.
I mean, I get it, but I also, I appreciate that I don't have to deal with discs because I'm packing, and packing sucks. And let me tell you, packing a lot of discs, not fun.
Yeah, you do have a rather large legacy media collection.
I'm kind of the middle on this because I really appreciate David and Jared loaning me games all the time, but I still buy digital most of the time for the same reason.
It is very convenient, yes.
So before we get into it, just how is everybody? How's everybody doing? You guys have a nice holiday?
Sure did.
Interesting holiday?
Oh, yeah.
Quiet.
Yeah, very quiet, and
Very
I loved
quiet. Well, mine was almost quiet. Little family drama, but
hung out with my daughter for a couple hours and then got drunk with my quarantine.
it. Nice.
Nice.
I don't think I drank quite enough.
Oh, I drank a lot. Holy moly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you started, 10:30 in the morning with mimosas?
Yeah. Drank all day. Poor Dave, can't get his camera working.
No, just the spinning wheel of death. I mean, it's lit up and it was working earlier. Something's grabbed it, that's all.
Well, let's just get into it. Let's get into some conversation. First of all, before we get into actual talking about Ghost of Tsushima, I wanted to ask you guys about Sucker Punch's games in general. Have you guys had much interaction? Have you played many of their games? Have you played the Sly Cooper games? Have you played the Infamous games? I don't know who wants to start, but have you guys...
I've played the Infamous games, but I've only dabbled into the Sly Cooper games a little bit because a while back they gave one of them for free on PlayStation Plus, so I kind of played a little bit of that. But I think for me that was just a bygone era that I missed.
Right. How about you, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, I was a big fan of the Infamous games. I think they're a lot of fun. I do have my same complaints a lot of people do, though, the repetitiveness of the missions spamming. Hopefully they will learn their lesson like Spider-Man did with Miles Morales and cut those back a little bit on a third one. But I think Sucker Punch tends to make, AAA titles that even if they're not perfect, they're always going to be fun.
Right. How about you, Dave?
Yeah. I really enjoyed the Infamous games. Those are some of my favorites from the early days, other than Destiny.
Yeah. Makes you feel like a Jedi,
Yeah, I liked how you could run around, but honestly, I'm not really wedded to a studio in particular.
Right.
No.
I played a little bit of the Sly Cooper games. I never really got into them. I was more of a Ratchet and Clank guy. And then I played both the first two Infamous games, but I couldn't get into the second one or the third one, the PS4 one. I couldn't get into that one. So that one I
Oh, you
just
didn't. You didn't like Second Son?
nah, I couldn't get into it. I know you guys talked, typed it up quite a bit, but I could just not get into that game for some reason. And
Yeah, I think
I went to school in Seattle. I love Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
you know
I
the
think
place.
Dave and I both got the platinum.
It was really cool getting on top of the Space Needle in that game. That was
Yeah.
really fun. I don't know. I think it was a nice little Easter egg trophy in Ghost of Tsushima where if you dress up like Sly Cooper, that was kind of a fun nod to their franchise.
So I think all of us platinumed it except Jared. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Dave,
Wow.
did you? Dave platinumed
Yeah, I
it?
platinumed it.
Yeah. So I think all three of us except Jared.
I really enjoyed it.
And then not a stab at Jared, but it wasn't really a hard platinum. The only trophy that I didn't get, naturally, I should say, by either just playing well or playing through the story, was the Sly Cooper trophy that I mentioned a second ago. That was the one where I had like one more trophy to go, and I'm like, what the hell trophy am I missing?
Yep.
So
Yeah, and then there was one where there was like it was one of the haikus or one of the tutorials that I missed, and it took me forever to
see,
find it.
that's what I told Brad, because I think Brad was talking about missing one, but I think he hadn't beaten it yet. But when I finished the game, I was still missing one, and it was that tutorial one because I totally blew by it in the tutorial mission.
Yeah, the one that I didn't find, and that's not a hidden trophy, so you don't have to look it up. You can just go like, okay, well, I need to find one more haiku. But that one, spoiler free, is during the ending sequence of the game.
Correct.
So that's why I was confused. So I'm glad that I just said screw it and decided to progress the story instead of wandering around for hours in the open world.
Right. So what going before this game launched? What was your kind of? Did you guys have any interest in this game? Were you hopeful? What was your kind of your thoughts on what this game was before it even came out?
Not a big fan of swords and sorcery, as you know.
That's not sorcery.
I know, but medieval kind of games or things set in that particular period. So I was kind of
not interested.
I was very on the fence.
Right.
So,
Jared?
Yeah.
I was very excited. I don't know why I didn't buy it on launch. I probably would have spent a lot more time with the game if I did, but borrowing it, I generally try and just kind of plow through it and give it back or, toss it off to somebody else. But yeah, I love the setting. I mean, everybody's been asking for an Assassin's Creed set in Japanese culture, and somebody else beat them to the punch and did it very well. So Assassin's Creed, when or eventually they ever do, they have a lot to stand up to.
How about you, Brad? Did you have any expectation for this game?
I mean, I was obviously very excited about it. I've always, been intrigued with Asian cultures, both modern and historical. And the trailer looked amazing, so it really made you, feel watching those cinematics like you're time traveling. I think they did a very good job on it. And I think that even a lot of people who aren't really necessarily in the medieval or Edo period or all those different games like David was saying, they did a good job of, I think, making people kind of get intrigued by that.
Right.
They probably made a few more nerds out there.
Yep.
So let's stick with you, Brad. So just kind of tell us, what did you really like about this game? Like your first impressions, like just playing it. What did you like? Just like, whoa, what was like awesome about it?
I think it flowed really well. I really enjoyed the really subtle differences when you unlocked more moves. They weren't like Samurai Showdown, like over the top. They were very specific, actual like martial arts, I believe, motions that were required for certain scenarios. And I thought that attention to detail made you feel like you were actually, controlling a samurai and not just a Street Fighter character in a pretty world,
Right. Of course. How about you, Jared? What did you like when you kind of? What was your kind of first thing that you kind of took away from the game when you were like, "Oh, wow, this is awesome"?
Right off the bat, I had a ton of fun with the battle system. It's actually a lot of fun. I'm usually not much into parrying and things like that, deflecting and timing in battles in games like this, but they did it so well, and the timing was great. I mean, everything seemed to hit when I hit the buttons, and some titles when you're trying to parry, it just seems like you have this millisecond window, and it becomes more of a chore to try it. So the battle system was just a champion of the game.
I
Did
want to.
you did
Oh, go ahead.
did you use the charm? Really, pretty early in the game, you can get a charm that makes parrying and blocking the timing window larger and easier. I admit I had that thing attached to me the entire game.
I don't think I used that charm, but that seems like a good one to grab.
That well, you guys have both. Before we get to you, Dave, I just want to, I mean this game you can't help but not kind of compare it to an Assassin's Creed game, and I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit. But for an open world game, the battle system in this game is so robust and so more complicated than a lot of games you're kind of used to that I really appreciated kind of having to learn something than just kind of hit block hit block. It kind of felt like it had more of a personality in its combat than most open world games, and I really appreciated that. And I think both you guys are talking about that. Dave, what was you don't have to talk about the combat, but you totally can. What was your kind of first impression of the game when you started playing it?
Actually, I didn't like the combat that much when I first started playing it, and I'll tell you why. It's because as you
Of course.
unlock the stances to get it's very hard to beat the wrong a guy using the wrong stance, and when you start, you only have one stance, so it's quite difficult to actually beat the shield guys if you don't have the stance that works well against the shield.
Sure.
So it takes
Yeah.
a lot of parrying and perfect either that or distance. I did the cheap run around and spew
Right.
arrows at them.
But what was the first thing for you? Like I asked them, what was that first thing for you that really kind of like blew you away about the game?
I just liked when the cinematics go like black and white, and just the colors in the game. I just thought they were really cool, and I really liked how the wind guided you along.
Did any of you play it in black and white?
I played the entire story in Kurosawa mode.
Nice.
And then I cleaned up in when I did the platinum. I turned it off and I played the rest of it. And I went back. It's weird going back and seeing the game. I actually, as an old samurai guy, films and shit, I prefer the Kurosawa mode. So that's me.
I played it in Japanese.
I played it in Japanese too. Exactly.
Yeah, so did I.
How about you, Jerry? You played
I had it in English. Yeah, I don't know. For me, it was usually I like to listen to things in Japanese because their mouths line up.
Well,
But
their acting is better too.
Yeah,
Usually.
the acting, at least it seemed like all the recording was done in English and all the voice mocap and all that stuff was done in English. So it just didn't really mesh with me.
You know what? It didn't.
So
I didn't notice that shit at all. There was a lot of comments about like the voice acting not syncing properly. For some reason, I didn't give a shit about that, and it didn't bother me. I don't know.
yeah, like I said, like watching a Japanese movie with Japanese people in it talking Japanese is cool. I love that, and I'll read the subtitles. But this, the lip syncing just didn't do it for me. It didn't work.
Cool. So how did we find the? We'll start with Brad here. How do we find the lead character? How do you find his story, his arc?
I actually appreciated it quite a bit. I really enjoyed his inner struggle with fighting with the samurai code and what was needed for his people to survive the invasion of the Mongols. I think that you really cared about the struggle and the character. And there's certain moments in the story, especially late in the game, where you almost find yourself jerking a tear out of your eye. You know, like it's really well put together cinematically and story wise to really make you care about the main character. And I also like that he didn't have like a very typical romance trope or anything like that. You know, there was even a moment where somebody kind of like hinted, like, "Hey, you can stay the night if you want," and he just looked at her and said, "No, I can't." You know, because he had one single mission, and it was nothing else could happen besides that mission.
Right. How about you, Jared? How did you think about the character and his main story arc?
I really like the progression of his arc. Just he seems like a very strong, like obviously he was a samurai for quite a while before the start of this game, and he really tried to stick to that code as much as possible without having any real bad outbursts or anything like that. I I was kind of hoping there would have been like a outburst, like where he just kind of lost it, but he really stood strong, and it was really impressive writing for his character.
Awesome. And you, Dave, what did you think of the lead character and his kind of story?
I liked it. I'm still not sure how much on rails the story was because it felt like it was very open-ended and free, and that you had a lot of choice as to whether you followed, one path or the other, especially towards the very end. So, but I liked his journey, and part of me just wanted to go against what his uncle wanted, just because,
Right.
that's the that's the way I like to play these kind of games.
So I have a question for you guys that kind of it's funny that Ghost of Tsushima doesn't go this route, but if you play the Infamous games, there is a good and a bad route. You know, you can choose to play good or bad. That doesn't really play out so much in Ghost of Tsushima. Are you surprised? I was kind of surprised that that's not how the game played out. Are you surprised that they didn't actually implement that into their gameplay?
I think it would have been really interesting if they did.
You think
Yeah,
it's a missed opportunity?
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
I'm glad they didn't, because I'm not a fan of those binary choices. Like in Infamous, like I don't like to do the bad things, so I'm never gonna see that side of the game. So I just feel like I miss out on a lot in games that make me decide. Like Mass Effect, I've never a renegade in it, so I don't know what the renegade's saying. And so
I
you're
always
missing half the
feel
dialogue.
like I go one way or the other anyway. But I kind of go binary when I'm given the choice. It's like, well, if I'm going to be bad, I'm going to make
Yeah.
all the bad decisions, or if
Yeah.
I'm going to be good, I'm going to make all the good decisions.
Well, it's interesting because like I don't in Infamous games I don't really care. I'll just kind of go the good route just because. But in Ghost of Tsushima, I can kind of I could have gone. I did kind of. I mean, ultimately, you do kind of go the bad route. I mean, even the story kind of plays out ultimately the bad route. I mean, it would have been interesting to see. I feel like there would have been more of a conflict there. Like if you would really go the good route, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have gone that route. You wouldn't have sneaked around. You wouldn't have. I feel like a lot of us would have gone the more aggressive, vengeful, take back our island route. So I just feel like it would have played more to their thing, and that's the only real disappointment I have in the game, just that they didn't do that. But ultimately, I thought the story was great. I mean, watching like old Kurosawa movies and then playing this, it just felt like a fucking samurai movie for me the entire time. I just was so impressed with it.
It it just had a thought. Like it would have been interesting if you did it the traditional samurai way. If they ended the game with all the samurai dying and the Mongols taking over,
I mean,
that would be wild. A wild
Super
take.
evil. Super
right?
evil.
Like you go the good route, but you ultimately die, and that's the game. But if you are the stealthy ninja route, you save everybody. Wow, how crazy would that be?
That would be
Yeah.
pretty absurd. I think a lot of people would have been pretty ragey on the
I don't
internet.
think a lot of people would have played that other route. Ultimately,
Yeah.
I mean, I think a
I
lot of
think
us.
I don't know. I played Infamous 1 and 2 twice because I wanted to get all the powers. I wanted to see all the outcomes.
Right.
True, I
But-
platinumed that game and played
But
it through
just
twice.
imagine if you're doing it the old-fashioned way, the game would end up being longer because you'd have to take more steps instead of the shortcuts that you end up taking to take care of the Mongols. So you
True.
kind of took the easy mode, I suppose.
Yeah.
So Jared didn't platinum it. So I don't know how much time he spent with the actual side characters, but the rest of us, we've done it all, and I feel like those side character stories were a lot of those stories were even better than the main story. A lot of that stuff was really interesting, and getting them on your side, and I mean, what did you think, Brad?
And the mental twists that some of those stories have, where you're helping somebody and halfway through their 9 mission or whatever story arc, they start showing signs of like kind of evil and selfish characters, and you continue to help them anyways, but you've got that feeling in your gut of like, am I doing the right thing by helping this person? And I agree, they were really, really wonderful elements of the game. I don't think I could see myself playing that game and only doing the main story missions because I enjoyed the characters quite well. And those little like optional talk to your allies before you start this mission, those little tiny conversations, even though they were small, were rewarding because it's like that you're getting that conversation only because you've been helping them the whole time.
It's definitely things like that made me think, oh, man, I wish there was binary choices in this game, because I feel like it's there, and they just didn't implement it.
There's a lot of things I could nitpick about this game of
Right,
what
right.
I would have done. I would have done if I made it, but I'm not going to nitpick too much because it's one of the best games that came out last year.
For sure. Dave, what do you think about the side characters?
I really liked it. I thought they were memorable, and I like the fact that there were 7, 9 missions, so they got like almost like a real story.
Yeah, like it was a
Some of
part of
them-
the story.
Yeah, some of them felt like they could have been DLC almost.
Right.
Like, they were well thought out, and they helped flesh out the world as well, and like your character's backstory, and made you feel more attached to just the whole samurai culture and the world in which you were running around.
For sure. Jared, for the ones that you did play or the missions that you did partake in, what did you feel going in?
I played quite a bit of the Archer's story, and I really enjoyed how that was progressing. And the ladies, I didn't spend as much time with the characters, so I don't know all their names. But the thief lady that helps you out through most of the game, I did
right.
several of hers, and they were really, really good. I enjoyed the characters, like the drunkard guy, the sake guy. I liked all of his stuff, but it was all really well done for what I did.
I don't know why Alex is in this chat because he has an Xbox and he's never played Ghost of Tsushima, so I'm just going to mute him. But yeah, we got hey, welcome, Dude Studios. Yeah, I mean, Jared, you really should go back. I mean, I think platinuming this game, it's not a hard platinum, but I think, man, there's some great stories. Like the monk one, I think I love the monk storyline. That was one of my favorites.
Actually, my favorite was the old lady.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh,
like that one.
the other old lady.
Yeah.
That was good too. Yo, that was a very good storyline
Yes.
too.
Yeah, that was a very good
Yeah, I
storyline.
enjoyed that one too.
Yeah, I would like to. Like, once everybody's done borrowing Dave's copy, I might borrow it again just so I can go through
Don't you
the
have
stuff.
it back? Oh no, don't you have it?
I thought it was with Ian right now. I don't know who's
I
got
thought
it.
it was with Jared.
I've got it.
Oh,
I've got it.
Yeah,
Dave,
Brad
Brad
still has it.
Oh, okay. I thought Brad dropped
Yeah.
off with Jared.
Well,
Not yet.
Brad can always put give you Days Gone as well, or who's got Days Gone now?
I gave that to Jared.
That's a good game.
Yeah.
Well, Days Gone, that's free on PS5 for Plus members, so I don't need that.
Yeah, I don't need Days Gone either. I tried it and didn't like it. Anyway, that's not the story here. Why the fuck is Alex? What the fuck are you doing in here? I'm gonna kick you. I'm gonna kick you out of the group. How do I kick you? How do
He's
I?
showing off his VR helmet,
Stable. All right, there we go.
his bucket.
Showing off his helmet.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
we
I don't
all
know what
need
he's
to
Yeah.
doing.
see that.
All right. So where was I before I was so rudely interrupted by VR? The
Talking
future.
about side quests. You can talk about your
No, no,
thoughts
no.
on the side questers.
Oh no, I don't. I did it all. No. I want to talk to you guys about the game. So as far as open world games go, where does this stack? How does the way? I mean, how does it rate? How does it work? Do you feel like it was good? Was it too much? Was it Assassin's Creed? Was it not
Thought it was
Assassin's?
perfectly sized because I came off the back of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and talk about a world where to get from one end of the world to the other is like, or sometimes you're like, man, I don't really feel like doing this mission because I'm gonna have to spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes just walking or doing whatever to get to it. I really enjoyed the size of it. Like it felt big and it had a good scale, but it didn't feel overwhelming, and
Right.
that's a real
Yeah,
fine
I
line to
agree.
hit.
I really liked Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I played at the beginning of the pandemic. Thank you, David. Um, and I really enjoyed it, but I never finished it. I got like 150 hours into it, and I was like, okay, well, that's enough. And for me, and this is my taste. I think I don't know what the exact number is, but Ghost of Tsushima feels like it's a 40-hour game. You know, and I think that's the perfect number for me. Is that I really got a lot out of that 40 hours, and now I'm ready to move on to the next game.
Yeah, I found the game didn't drag as well. I thought it was pretty tight, like for a 40, 50-hour game.
Right.
Yeah,
Well
I
paced.
did like the size of the world. It was nice. Like I borrowed both Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey from Ian, and once I got into the open world, I'm like, all right, this is too much for me right now. So I just gave them back. So I didn't even play those games because they were too massive for what I want to play right now. And
Sometimes.
Ghost of Tsushima's map was much more manageable, and it didn't have too many obstacles in the way. You could kind of get wherever you want pretty easily. So I really appreciated that a lot. And of course, the trek between locations was like half the time I would just like walk around on my horse. I wouldn't sprint most of the way because it was just such a beautiful sight to see.
So you guys are all talking about the size of the map, but how about how the game handles being an open world game? I mean, Dave mentioned it something earlier about like how the wind uh, drove you in directions. How about just how it handled quests? How just not the map, but like other things that it does that are open worldy.
Oh,
The collecting
yeah.
things, like what are there
Yeah,
any things that stood out to you guys?
I really
There,
liked all the collectibles, and I liked that they had like meaningful rewards for collecting some of them. You know how you got like a stamina boost for collecting 3 or 5 of whatever it was, and it actually made it worthwhile to do these little kind of side quest collectibles that quite a lot of games you're kind of like, meh, what's the point?
Right.
Collect all the 20 stones or whatever. You actually got something for doing the side stuff.
Correct.
Well, I think you got like culture out of it too. Like you get a headband for doing a haiku, and I didn't really care about the headband that much, but I really enjoyed writing the haiku. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
yeah,
I
those were
thought that was
nice.
like a really fun like cause to like literally what he's doing is sit down and breathe and just relax.
Something different
And
too. We've never done that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I must admit that was my least favorite part of the game, but I'm a heathen.
Uh-huh.
I really dislike haikus, and so like that was just like, I'm just gonna point at the nearest circle and choose stuff at random and get it over and
That's
done with.
funny.
Well, so I liked how they switched it up with like when you were in the vicinity of a location or an item or something like that. The birds were really cool. I really like the foxes, but man, there's so many and it's really distracting. You're like you're going on a mission and there's birds flying in your face. There's foxes howling at you everywhere, and I found that pretty distracting. I kind of wish it would have turned it off during some of the side quests, but beyond that, it's a really great idea. But the birds running into everything and getting stuck in buildings, and you're like, where the hell do I go? And you're trying to track some of these birds down. It was kind of annoying, but it's a great start to a really cool idea.
Awesome.
If you wear your traveler's armor, you almost never need to worry about the birds, anyways.
Right. For sure. So let's start with Brad on this one, but like, because you did say you had some things you didn't like. I think we all had some things we didn't like. Let's, you know, we don't need to shit on the game, but there are things we didn't like about the game. Kind of, what are some of those things, Brad?
I think some of the main things that if I made the game I would change is I found that, like, I like the idea that the gear is vanity, right? Most of the gear you get is just because this is the way you want to look, and that's great. I think they spammed us on headbands too much. I think there was a lot of armor that I got really excited about collecting all of the armor, but then I never wore it because 90% of the game I wanted to travel gear on because I wanted to get the fog off the map and I wanted help finding the secret items. And then every time I pull up against a rogue group of bandits or Mongolian soldiers, I hit the standoff button and then quickly pause it to switch into the armor that gives me a kill bonus on standoffs. And I think would have been more intelligent is if like in like some role playing games, if you like wore the armor long enough or got enough kills while wearing the armor or some sort of feat that you could steal maybe not a full power but a portion of the ability that armor has as a permanent boost to your stats. I think that would have made a lot of sense to me, and it would have made me really excited about collecting armor, even if it wasn't one that I vanity liked. Like I didn't like the look of it, but it would force me to wear the bower's outfit because I want to have faster reload speeds and better skills at archery, or whatever.
Right.
And I felt the same way with the charms. There was a whole bunch of charms that had really cool boosts, but I never used them because there was like one or two charms that I needed to wear the entire game in order to play the game more effectively.
Cool. Anything else?
I mean, no, overall, I don't got any complaints. Like I said, that's nitpicking something that would be cool to see in a sequel, maybe.
Right.
And it wasn't oversaturated with fetch quests, which is one of my biggest pet peeves in open world games. So, good on them.
All right, Jared, how about you? What were some of the kind of things you were like?
The charms. The charms were my least favorite part of the game. I didn't really end up spending much time with them because every time I looked, I was just kind of like, oh, whatever. They don't really mean much. There's a couple of the more top tier ones. They're like, okay, I'll equip these two, and I won't worry about them again. They're just there for for people to collect and have maybe maximize their usefulness if they're on the hardest difficulty.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't want to if you could have armor presets where you could press one button and switch to a scenario of charms, like I'm going to be stealth. This is my stealth charm list, or I'm going to go in running and blazing.
Yeah, kind of a lot.
Maybe
would have been nice.
I think that would have been really nice.
Loadouts, huh?
Yeah.
How about you, Dave?
Yeah.
What were some of the things you kind of were like meh on the game?
Yeah, I as I've already said, the haikus. I could have done without that. But I understand why they were there. But yeah, mainly like an armor charm loadout would have been good. I echo Brad's point on the armors. I was like really excited, and I ended up honestly just using about 3 of them. It was like the Explorer Traveler armor. Then I like the Ghost armor. It made, if you paired it with some charms, it made it really short to get your kill streak. And the archery took a bit getting used to. But my main complaint, as I already said, was when you first start the parry system doesn't really work that well because obviously you haven't got all the stances.
I thought it worked great. I don't know what you're talking about. Also, let's talk
I
about
was really disappointed because you said it was a really great fighting mechanic.
I thought it was great.
And I was like,
and unlike you guys, I played it in black and white, so I don't get the blue or the red. I just get the flash. Oh boy. Anyway,
rolling around.
I think I totally hear your guys' shit and I feel you. Like the charms, you get so many of them and it's like I've got this one already. Why do I get it again? And
You can stack them.
right, you stack them, but you can get other better ones, and it's
Yeah.
and I get the loadout thing, and I only wanted to run certain armor. I get that, and I wish I could just transmute certain armor into my armor so I wouldn't have to deal with shit. I get all that, but not a horribly disappointing thing. I honestly, personally, I already brought it up, but I think having the two decisions, like their other two, like the infamous games, was my biggest disappointment. Like I was totally waiting for that being the choice, and the fact that they didn't implement that, I was kind of let down. But ultimately, didn't care because the story is a strong, like linear story, and it delivers, I think, very well. That I was like, okay, I'm okay with this, but of all the things, I was kind of like, man, why didn't you put that in here? That's like the only real thing I was like, huh, that's weird. Oh well, not a big deal.
Yeah, none of the things I think any of us have said spoiled the game at all. It was just like little tweaks that would have made it more fun.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'd still give it like 8.5.
8.5. Brad's at an 8.5.
That sounds about right.
Everyone's at an
Solid
8.5.
game.
What I want to know is, what did you think of? I mean, did you feel like it's? Do you feel like it's an open world game that's very linear?
In some respects, yeah, but I found that, if you split the game into acts and you've got 3 acts, like when I first started playing, I just did missions, and I got to that like end of the first third of the game, and I found it was getting really, really difficult because I hadn't done any of the side quests, so I hadn't leveled up my character and got a bit more stamina, and made things a little easier on myself. So I actually found that I really mainlined the first third of the story, and then I almost like backed off
Right.
and did a lot of the side missions in the first third of the map.
Anyone else?
I've always been a completionist, and I try to tell myself to stop being a completionist, but it's like the old SquareSoft days in me are still locked in, where I got to get everything. So I get really bad about doing all of the side missions before I do story missions. Like, I want to clear all the fog on the map first.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to do that kind of gaming in open world games, but these days, I tend to not worry about that kind of stuff. My biggest complaint about the open worldness of it is the fog of war was very, very tight. You didn't really unlock anything beyond the tiny little tunnel your character can see. So that was kind of annoying. But I mean, the open world, it's great. It seemed to work great. There was a lot of fast travel points, which I really appreciated. So I think it was really well done.
Brad, you were saying something.
Oh, he was talking about God of War being a little bit too linear. And I was okay with it being tight. I didn't expect it to have a lot of side missions because it didn't really have that world map kind of setup like most open world games do. It felt like you could backtrack all the way back, but it didn't feel like you needed to for any reason. I like things the way they're designed, like I don't get mad that my moped won't go 80 miles an hour because it wasn't designed to do that.
But we can make it go that fast. No. How beautiful is some of the shit in this game? Like when you're just like playing and like something happens, like how beautiful. Brad, let's start with you. I know you took a video of this. Like what is up with some, like it's not the most prettiest graphical game, like really, but it does some of the most beautiful shit in a video game.
Was it me first?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's one of the rare games where I shared screenshots on my PlayStation. I never touched the share button. I think the share button is so unuseful for me as a gamer. But yeah, I mean, and it falls under the unfortunate timing of being one of the final releases on the end of a life cycle of a console. It didn't blow you away graphically, but the design blew me away. If that makes sense, it's like,
No, totally,
you know,
totally.
maybe you're not shooting a movie with a red camera, but the cinematographer knows what the hell he's doing.
Exactly. Exactly. Like the
Yep.
game isn't like it's beautiful in a different way. Like just artistically, it's designed beautifully, but it's not like the most graphically outstanding game. I don't know, Jared. What did you think of the game?
Well, yeah, the oversaturation of colors actually worked in a title like this. Like a lot of other titles might try to boost the color palette and all that stuff, and it just ends up looking like a kind of a mess. But this one, it would really enhance the experience because all the really bright colors in the fields and the blossoms falling down from the trees, and it's made it so beautiful and made you want to spend more time in that world.
Dave, you have anything you want to add, or are you
No,
beauty?
I would go with that. It wasn't a system. It wasn't as beautiful as awe-inspiring as some of the games, but it had a good look, and it just it was just well shot and well thought out.
So,
But
oh, go ahead.
yeah, no, go ahead.
So I may be one of the only ones that can speak on this because I mean, Jared played it on his PS5, I think. Dave played it on
Yeah.
PS4. Brad played it on PS4. I played it on PS4, but I've also recently played it on my PS5, and it's bizarre to go from a game that you thought was pretty fucking awesome to a game that's it run like at 60 frames in the it's like a different
I
game.
will I will say I ran it on a PS4 Pro, and I know that's not nearly as powerful as the 5, but that the full HDR colors were obvious, and the frame rate was fantastic. But I also noticed that they'd give you hints during the load screens. A lot of video games give you hints. I couldn't finish reading a hint because the load
Oh,
times were
so
so
fast,
short.
so fast. Oh yeah, even on a base PS4, it's just like so
Yeah,
optimized.
yeah,
Something a lot of
yeah.
video games. Well, if you think about it, I mean, Infamous Second Son came out almost at launch, and then they've been working on this game since then. Like this game has been optimized up the wazoo. I mean, I feel like, you know, I don't know.
Well,
They got to
just
take full
wait.
advantage of the capabilities of the machine because of how late in the game they made it.
For sure. I feel like they delayed. I feel like because of Last of Us, they got pushed. Because didn't Ghost drop after Last of Us? Wasn't that the? I mean, wasn't Last of Us always supposed to drop before it? And when Last of Us got pushed, Ghost got pushed. And I feel like they just keep working on their game, optimizing their game. I don't know. It's just funny.
Why didn't Cyberpunk do that?
Yeah,
Well,
right. Well, this will be an interesting
it's not.
game to revisit
That's not a
once they
first party
do.
game, Brad. That's not a first party game.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jared.
Sorry,
I'm
Jared. Go
sorry.
ahead.
Oh, it's all good. I think it'll be an interesting game to revisit once they do release like the patch for the PS5 because they haven't done that yet. But
No,
even though the enhancements that the PS5 gives it are like mind melting,
it
the
is
60
for
frames
me.
per second
Like when I
is a
was
game changer on any game.
for sure when I loaded into it, it just felt like different. It was just like whoa, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you got that transitional point of view where you started on a base PS4. That's your launch model that you still have, and it was beautiful. It ran wonderful, 30 frames per second, nice and smooth. And then you finished it or played it again on your PS5, and it's like a complete world of difference between the two.
For sure,
It's
for sure.
insane.
So my next question for all you guys is like, is this a franchise or is this game over? Do you think they milk it? Do you think they go back to the well and do a sequel, or is this a one and done?
Well, they set it up where they have the opportunity to have a sequel. You know, the the Mongolian army was, that invasion historically was more than just the islands of Tsushima. So if they want to, they have it set up where he has this legendary ghost, you know, archy in their culture that they could do a sequel very easily and have him go to the mainland and fight off the Khan's brother. I would like to see that, but I think it really is up to how successful this game has been financially. I know that it made a lot of awards,
I think it's
and I
been
know it's been a huge
successful though.
success. Yeah, but it could be. I don't know what the portfolio looks like financially. Is if they think that they can make $1 billion off it, of course we'll get another one.
Well, I think for original IP, it was the fastest selling. So it was better. It did better than Horizon Zero Dawn did.
Oh wow, that's
So-
huge.
So
That's huge. Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's a solid game, and I think it's interesting where this game falls this year for Game of the Year against certain other games. It's a very weird year for Game of the Year. So
As
I
of
thought-
November 12th, it sold 5 million copies.
yeah,
Wow. Yeah, that's fantastic. I thought when the year started that Final Fantasy VII remake would have been higher on my Game of the Year, and it's still I still love it. I still treasure it. I'm going to play it again and again. But it's not even in my top 3 probably anymore. Because there's been so many amazing games that we've gotten during this pandemic year.
well, let's ask this question: where does this game stand as Game of the Year again for all you guys, Brad?
Well, I'm gonna say it here because I haven't played it yet, so I can't say this is for sure. But from everything I've been getting from my daughter, who's a pro gamer, and the 3 of you and the rest of our Discord group, Last of Us 2, is getting some of the best reviews of any video game ever made. So you have to at least have that one in consideration, even if you haven't played it yet. You can't willy-nilly vote for Final Fantasy or one of these other titles without considering this game that's getting so much honor.
All right. But are you going to play it this year?
I am.
you are,
Yeah.
you are.
Well, not this. There's only a couple days left in this year, but I already have Last of Us Part 1 on my PlayStation ready to run through it so that I'm ready for.
Oh, you've never done the
Last
first
of-
one?
No,
Oh.
my daughter has been bugging me for a couple of years on doing that. So, Oscar, our mutual buddy, is letting me play his copy of Last of Us. So I'm gonna start doing that probably January.
All right.
Yeah,
Jared,
if
where
you
do
don't
you-
like the
oh.
gameplay, just play it for the story. The story is worth it.
Yeah, that's what everybody
No.
tells me.
No.
It's worth grinding through it also so you're ready for part 2.
Anyway,
Kind of with Ian.
Dave
Don't
and
listen
I,
to,
Dave
don't
and
listen
I,
to Ian.
Dave's with me. Dave,
Yep.
Dave's with me.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
listen to those guys.
Jared, where are you with Ghost of Tsushima's Game of the Year? Where's it stand on your list of Game of the Year?
It's got to be in the top 5.
Top 5.
I think so.
But
Yeah, I haven't made
won't
my
make
list
it.
yet.
It won't make it though.
Yeah, I think it'll make it.
No, but like it
I
wouldn't
mean,
be. It wouldn't be your Game of the Year.
No,
All right.
no.
I like it
I've
better
played
in Final
some pretty
Fantasy.
amazing games this
Oh.
year, and
Brad likes it more than Final Fantasy VII.
I know.
That's a pretty
I know,
big. That's a
that's
pretty
wild.
big. That's a pretty big defeat there, actually.
Some love right there.
Yeah. Okay.
It's close. It's close.
Yeah, I haven't played the remake yet.
Dave.
I gotta say though,
Go ahead.
I studied Japanese history or Asian history when I was in college, and when you're going through like Chinese art history and Japanese art history, and you see this video game, like Jared was talking earlier about the colors and how the colors really work for it. You couldn't have made that game without those colors, because if you look at the history of their art and their culture, that is the only way you can tell that story correctly is with those really vibrant, beautiful, contrasting colors. And I think that really sold the game on me on the work that they put into it to make it legitimate. And I think that's why I have to edge it over some of the other games I played this year.
It's interesting because, oh man, what was I gonna? It's. Let's not talk about that. Dave, where does it stand on your Game of the Year?
It would not get my Game of the Year like top spot. It did everything. It did everything well and did everything right. There's just some games I liked a little bit more than it.
Would it be your number
was
2?
memorable. It could possibly get number 2. Yeah, I'd have to look. It's been a while since I looked at what I've played this year because
Right.
I've played a lot with the pandemic. So.
But our game of the year lists are always weird because we include games that we played that came out before this year.
True.
So it's hard
Not
to
me.
gauge. Like
Not me.
maybe yeah, you've played a ton of games from this year, but we don't. You know, we're not on top of all the games. Yeah.
Well, I would say this though. I feel like confident in saying that this is probably the couch co-op game of the year. Like it may not be our individual games of the year, but I think collectively this is a game that we could all agree on would probably be game of the year because we've all played it. We all have shared a similar interest in the game. I feel like I'm not going to call that right now. We can when we do our top 10, when we do our game of the year lists, then we'll judge that. But I'm pretty sure that this is that game. I think this is ultimately going to be that game, but I won't.
If you were to do a power ranking system like sports do, where all of the people on your team vote
Right.
on first place gets this many points, second place gets this many points, third place. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's one of the games that every single one of us agree
Yeah.
that it's a good game. It's a solid
Yeah,
game.
we just need to let Aaron borrow it now.
It's
It'd be
also
a
one
top-
of those. It's one of the few games that we've all played too. Like
Yeah.
it's funny because we all play so different games that like this is a game that we come together on and collectively have a shared opinion on, and it's a positive shared opinion. So it's like that's kind of that kind of like ultimately decides what it is our game of the year. But
Well, yeah, and
Somebody in our
I
group
think
was playing Farmville the other, or whatever that farm simulator game, and I'm sure it's great, but $60,
no.
yeah. Well, as many games as our group has beat, not many games we've played are the same as someone else's collection. So it's our collective tastes are so varied, and this is like the one game. What 3-4 of us have beat, maybe more.
3 of us platinumed it, which says a lot about we enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
So
I think I'm still,
I wouldn't
I'm still
say
playing
no.
Mortal Kombat 11.
Mortal Kombat 11.
Well, they're still
I don't
releasing
know
content for
anybody
that,
else
aren't
playing
they?
that. Oh yeah, and
I don't. I
there's
still
rumors
haven't
that
bought
they're
it.
gonna do
I'm
for another
still.
2 years.
I'm still waiting for the ultimate Super Edition to be $19.99. So I'll I'll
There's
play.
a lot of rumors. There's a lot of rumors that they're going to continue doing massive DLC for.
So I mean, Ghost of Tsushima, Sucker Punch, great game. Oh, the one thing I did want to talk about, it's interesting, is I forget which game developer was it. He was with Sega. Was it with the Yakuza
Yeah, it was
director who was
Sega
talking?
Studios.
Yeah,
Wasn't
he
it?
was talking about like this is a game we should have made. Like, how are the Americans making this awesome Japanese game and we're not doing that, and we're making these kind of goofy Japanese games? Like, it was an interesting thing to read, but they don't make those type of games,
And how many Japanese games actually have Japanese people in them?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, not many that come to the U.S. at least. I mean, I can't think of any. It's either like some anime tropey characters or it's some English white speaking dude peoples. It's.
I just thought that was a really high compliment for him to say that. Like, this is a game we should have made, and and he was very high praise, and so like that speaks volumes.
Yeah, I agree that Japan should be making more Japanese games.
Go ahead, Brad.
Hopefully this game kicks them in the ass and says, you know what? If they're going to make this good game in America, maybe we need to top that. Maybe that's going to,
Yes,
as they
please.
say, competition makes better products.
Yeah, you're always I mean, Japan is always, that's kind of where the whole art form started, and I feel like us as gamers, we play games from so many different, but a lot of them aren't really the Japanese games. I mean, the occasional Final Fantasy, Monster Hunter World, but like they're not the contenders like they used to be. It'd be really awesome to see them, I don't know. Maybe that's just an opinion. That's a North American opinion. I don't know. Well, guys, very talkative, very awesome. I love the game. I thought the game was awesome. I would love to play some multiplayer with somebody who owns the copy.
Yeah, whoever's got mine.
Yeah.
I'll get it back to Jared this week.
But before we get out of here, let's do something like totally. Let's recommend. Let's do a couch co-optional. anything. It can still be a video game if you want to represent a video game, but it could be a movie, a TV show, a book, a food, a beer, a drink. I don't know, whatever. Brad, let's start with you. Got anything you want to recommend to the people?
I recommend making some mulled cider while it's cold outside, sitting by a fireplace in between your games.
Where can we find that mulled cider recipe, Brad? No.
I'll send it to you. It's called Google, man.
Google. Yeah. Okay, mulled cider. Brad, Jared, what do you got? You got something?
Yeah, I got it for Christmas. If you've never played with a Where's Waldo book, yeah, they're amazing. You might think you just find one dude, but there's way more to it. They give you a lot of stuff to search for on these crazy pages with goofy shit happening on every page.
If you were having sex with one dude, you're gonna be having sex with a couple dudes. Dave,
yeah,
That's a bad answer.
Dave, what do you got? What do you got?
On the note to echo Jared's, there's a company out there that does personalized Where's Waldo's books. We got one for my nephew, and it was pretty awesome, actually.
Oh, cool.
But I can't remember what they're called. Other than that, I've started watching The Expanse, and that's been sucking me in.
Awesome.
And then Barbarians as well, which is like...
What season are you on The Expanse?
I'm episode 8 on season 2.
Cool. Awesome.
So
I'm gonna recommend a fucking like weird ass show that I knew nothing about that my wife found. It's called The Imposters. It's on Netflix. There's 2 seasons, but it's a Bravo TV show. It was not. I thought it was gonna be stupid, but it's some of the best writing. It's about con artists. It's like what is the I can't even think of it now.
use your words, Ian.
Ocean 11. That whole series. It's like con artists. It's that kind of bullshit. Anyway.
Yeah.
If you like that kind of shit in a TV show, Imposters. It's on Netflix, 2 seasons. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. The characters are cool. Anyway, hey guys, let's get out of here. Ghost of Tsushima, Game of the Year. No, anyway, I want to thank Brad.
Thank you for having me.
I want to thank Jared.
Always nice to chat with you guys.
I want to thank Dave.
Oh, you're welcome. Can't wait to see you again when I'm feeling better.
Oh, yeah. For joining me here on the couch for Couch Co-op. I'm Ian. Be excellent to each other.
Excellent.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Couch Co-op.
Oh, you're welcome. How's your packing going? Ah.